mouthpiece. I gave you both instructions. I just want to remind you, listen and obey my commands at all time. Protect yourself at all time. Escúchame. Pelea duro, pelea limpio. Fight hard, fight clean. Toca los manos.
Is there anything that Andre Ward can do against, at least on paper, a hopelessly outclassed opponent that can make people believe that he'll beat Kovalev in November?
Yeah, if he don't be focused, if he don't do what he has to do, Max, he can, he can make people think that he has no chance. So he has to look, listen, he has to look good in this type of fight no matter what.
Bernard Hopkins, of course, is the one man in the world who probably knows best what it would take to defeat Sergey Kovalev. Hopkins is the giant scalp on Kovalev's record off his unanimous decision victory over Bernard in November of 2015, or November of 2014, I should say, in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Most see
Ward
that
takes a body shot from Brand, and then Brand falls off balance.
Yeah, most see the potential November fight as a 50-50 type of fight. My question is, against a guy like this, can you glean anything? Can you take anything away from this fight that might change your opinion about that fight if you favor Kovalev? I think Ward here, looks very sharp early, Bernard, and I think is testing himself as much as he's trying to put on a showcase for the fans.
Yeah, but what I also see is that, Andre Ward is fighting a guy that's not as tall and lanky as Sergey Kovalev is. And by having that left hand down, that is Ward, I see a right hand that Kovalev might be trying to set up. But right now, I know that Andre want to set up the jab and actually see what he can work with as time goes on.
Andre Ward is a natural left-hander who fights in a conventional stance. We've seen a great deal of that, more and more of it, in recent years in boxing, putting the strong hand in front.
Stop, my break.
And even though we've made a good deal of point about the fact that Ward is moving up from 168 to 175, you have to remember that 12 years ago when he won that Olympic gold medal in Athens, the weight class was 178. So he does have a deep background as an amateur fighting fighters who are this size.
Yes, and also fighting guys that, is tough and strong and 175 and up. But, Andre has a really good combination hand speed.
And he put it on display so far early in this with that left hook downstairs, upstairs, in a way that we didn't see against Sullivan Barrera.
And he also know how to work inside when he's tied up, at least with one hand, by the other opponent. And so when you get in that position, you got to be able to know how to fight your way out of it. And Andre has a good instincts on how to get out of there.
Well, you talk about fighting inside.
Inside, once he gets tied up, once he gets close, he's really a good fighter inside.
Oh, I think he's the best in boxing at creating awkward punching angles inside and landing punches that the opponent doesn't see coming. And I think he's also the best in boxing at tailoring his style to what the opponent can do.
You'll notice Andre holding his left hand out straight in front of him like a rangefinder, keeping Brand in his sights.
A measuring stick to set up something else, which is the right hand or a left hook off the jab like he just did just now.
Solid first round for Andre Ward against Alexander Brand.
Stitch, I'm going to be right here, so I'm going to be...
Ward's trainer since he was a teenager, Virgil Hunter.
Good job. So he's going to go back most of the time. So that's a good first round. Keep the jab on until you, close the distance. Now, when he comes at you, start tucking, right? Because he's coming the same way. He's panicking punching, okay? So he's tight. So tuck in the guard and turn pivot, okay? Pick up the pressure. Don't let him fight at his pace. You just pick it up. Double the jab, up and down. But look to make him stay under your legs. Look to make him pay when he comes forward by tucking in and pivoting, okay? Good job.
There's Sergey Kovalev, seated at ringside. Kovalev's second visit this year as a spectator in Oakland. And there's the Ward family at ringside. On the left, his wife, Tiffany. And on the right, his grandmother.
Alexander has to be careful right now because Andre is setting up traps for him. He's in a pocket. He came out with his hands high up, and he's just really anticipating Alexander throwing a punch so he can counter. But he's so sharp right now, Max. He's looking for an opportunity to throw punches in between Alexander's.
Yeah, Brand has a, you know, you don't have as deep an amateur background and then get this far without a loss, even against limited opposition, without having some tricks up your sleeve. And Brand has a very awkward rhythm where he baits his opponent into leading when they don't want to lead, and then he counters with wild looping power shots.
One of the most unusual career patterns we've ever seen. Brand remained an amateur until age 32. Wound up having 437 amateur fights, of which he says he won 420. But then finally turned professional at 32, so he's only had a 7-year professional career as he approaches his 40-year birthday in January.
Sometimes these kind of wild swinging, awkward angles that an unorthodox fighter takes against a very orthodox and skilled fighter like Andre are more difficult for the skilled fighter to block than punches that come from anticipated angles.
Well, Alexander can make you look bad because his unorthodox style. And he also, you know, he throws punches from a wide angle like he just did with the 1-2 or the left hook and the right hook. But, you know, he's got Marmelo and Mayoga. You know, he don't have a really good style, just throwing punches from all over. He can catch you with either punch.
Another left hook for Ward. Naturally conservative by nature, Ward is not a guy who walks in and seeks knockouts. His knockouts are of the opportunity variety. But if he goes 12 rounds against an opponent like Alexander Brand, that might occasion some whispers. Although, of course, Kovalev did not have a very good outing in his tune-up against Chilemba a few weeks ago.
And Ward's jab looks so sharp here tonight, not just when he's landing it flush, but when he's not landing it, he's intentionally pawing with it. Every punch that he throws meant to land has landed.
If Alexander put up a good challenge to last 12 rounds, then I don't think it'll look as bad as it looks. But I think if it goes to a point where Ward doesn't look sharp throwing it, then it looks really bad. So Burton is on Ward now to make it look 100%.
Because he prizes his dignity, Andre Ward has never spoken much in public about his very challenged childhood, about the crises that attended his life when he was a teenager, about all the obstacles he's had to overcome to make it to where he is. Most particularly, he's never discussed very openly his parents' struggles with addiction, which was hidden from him some of the time. And now all of that is in a good place, as he told a writer earlier this week. Let's take a look at what he said about it yesterday in our fighter meeting.
What was the most difficult, painful thing to reveal for you?
I'll probably say my parents.
Your parents. Because you've never really spoken fully and openly about that before.
No, I've never talked about it.
You're struggling with it right this minute. Of course. Do you feel guilty about it? I'm sorry that I said those things about my parents because people might look at them negatively.
I mean, I think a little bit about that, you know, but I'm thankful, man, that, you know, my mom, she made it through and she's still fighting.
Fought through it.
You know, and and my dad, you know, I think he died way too early. And I think that had a lot to do with it. You know, heroin is a powerful, powerful drug, man. And, you know, when you get on and get off, like that's a lot on your heart. And he died at 46.
40.
Yep, but
You
no
know,
one's gonna.
I'm trying not to do that, Jim. Supposed to have my game face on.
I think what you saw there is a window into why Ward has been the way he's been in public. He's a deeply sensitive human being, and he does not want to show those kinds of vulnerabilities which were so apparent yesterday when he discussed his parents.
Yeah, and you know, it was really hard feeling, and he had to fight through that, and, you know, it still haunts him, you know, even up to speak about it, you know, yesterday. But, you know, I think he's going to use all that for motivation. Now that he got past it, Jimmy can talk about it more and now concentrate on his career.
And his mother, who he says was out of his life for 20 years, is at ringside tonight and is a very active, loving grandmother to Ward's 4 children. Now midway through the 3rd round, Ward continues to show his precise boxing style and his general command of the ring against Alexander Brand.
You mentioned the Chilemba fight for Kovalev, Jim, and before that fight, I think that there was a sense in boxing that maybe Kovalev was too sharp for Andre because of the activity, and maybe he'd have been the slight favorite. In the Chilemba fight, a fight in which Kovalev was very likely distracted fighting in his hometown, maybe not in the best of condition, etc. But Chilemba used the jab and awkward timing to hold off Kovalev, and since then, Ward has seemed to be maybe the very slight favorite in boxing fans' minds. It's going to be interesting to see coming out of this fight if there's any change. So far, I think that Andre looks pretty sharp tonight.
I think the reason they might think that, I don't agree, but I think they might look at Kovalev last fight, and they might look at this fight, you know, how the end is, go to distance or be, you know, early.
But see, moments like those, if Andre can minimize even small moments where Brand has some success and maximize the times where he's attacking, I think maybe Andre goes into a November fight with Kovalev as a slight favorite.
Well, Kovalev against Chilemba was fighting in his home area, near his hometown in Russia for the first time in several years, and many fighters don't function well in front of friends, relatives, and the home crowd. Ward does, but Kovalev may have been distracted by the occasion in Russia.
Ward just landed a right hand to the body, and I don't know that Brand has gotten over it yet.
I think it was more to the liver, but it was a good shot, and he grabbed, he held, and that's that veteran in Alexander. He
Absolutely,
grabbed,
he just bought 20 seconds.
He just bought 25, but he got those seconds, and he know that is going to benefit him.
Couple of left hooks for Brand.
But those punches have no power. Andre sees him coming, so now he has to now probably just throw short punches inside and try to catch him coming in to make it look like a good exchange.
Another effective body shot for Ward with the left hand to close out the round. September 10 at 5:30 p.m. Triple G, Gennady Golovkin takes his big drama show to the O2 in London for a middleweight title defense against undefeated welterweight champ Kell Brook. Later that night, we'll replay Golovkin versus Brook, alongside live boxing headlined by Chocolatito Gonzalez, who will attempt to win a title in his 4th weight class as he takes on Carlos Cuadras.
To understand, we need more than one punch. We need 2, 3 at a time. When he tells you to break, just let him go, okay? Understood? Okay, you need to listen. I like what you're doing. Breathe. It's the 4th. It's the 4th. You're good? Very nice. Don't stop moving.
Total punches through round 4. Ward has landed 29 out of 94. Brand 11 of 55. That's extremely light output from Brand through 3 rounds, only throwing about 18 punches per round. Ward only throwing 31 punches per round, but dominant so far. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, so man, 3-0, 30-27, Andre Ward. You know, Jim, when a guy wants to go to distance, when a guy's trying to survive, he backs up. Look at this. Alexander Brand backs up, he backs up, and he backs up some more. And when Andre Ward gets inside, he grabs and holds. I mean, he's doing nothing but trying to go to distance. Look at that backing up. I mean, he's been doing this since the fight started. On the other hand, Andre's not exactly jumping in his face like he normally does. But, you know, look, in truth, he's getting some work. Maybe he needs this because, you know, you don't know what the heck Kovalev's going to do. So, you know, he's getting in some good work chasing Alexander Brand. But be as it may, 3-0, Andre Ward. He's landed all the punches, Jim.
Before the 4th round came, he asked his coach, what round is the round is it? 4th round. When you normally hear that, it's like he's paying attention to the rounds and how many rounds he went already. So what Harold Lederman said sounds more credible because he want to know how many rounds.
You're talking about Brand?
Brand, yep.
Brand reaching for a right hand there.
You know, Andre may want rounds tonight, right? Because that's the point of shaking the rust. But the question is, you know, like when he was throwing that right hand to the body, Brand, that left hand came down and was really protecting the right side of his body. If Andre's fighting properly and aggressively at this point, I don't know how many more rounds this goes.
Well, there's nothing on these punches Alexander just throwing. It's just a matter of time that Andre, you know, close the show and just end the show. You know
there's the body shot again.
Yes, the body shot to the ribs.
Yeah, again.
Hard right hand shot to the body. Ward appeared bothered, Brand appeared bothered by the punch. It's sometimes hard to tell whether Brand is bothered by a punch because his movements are so awkward and stiff and non-rhythmic. There's a left hook for Ward that gets the attention of the crowd.
Now, because he's thinking about that right hand to the body, Ward catches him with a hook upstairs.
Well, he reacts. Alexander reacts to every shot that he gets hit with, and that's the telltale sign that he don't like them punches.
Straight right hand for Ward. Crowd likes that as well.
You know, Max Ward said he would use that straight left hand to the body often, and he's using it.
Yep.
Often.
Seems to be focusing on the straight left hand to the body. Not throwing the jab upstairs very much at all. Yet again, jab to the body.
I would like to see him jab to the body and throw a right hook upstairs. He'll catch the guy real good.
On September 10, catch the premiere of Road Canelo Smith as we take you behind the scenes with Canelo Alvarez and Liam Smith as they prepare for their upcoming showdown. Smith, a 154-pound title belt holder from Great Britain. 1 week later, HBO pay-per-view brings you the live fight with Canelo challenging for Smith's 154-pound title belt.
Don't stop faking when you're against the corner. Make him think. Make him think. Make him think before you go in. Don't let him come in openly, all right? I want you to fake. And attention with this. When he's
We got the round. Look at me. Don't worry about it. Just get it.
Bernard, were you shocked when you heard that welterweight champion Kell Brook had decided to step up and take the fight against Gennady Golovkin, going up 2 divisions in weight to face maybe the hardest puncher in boxing?
Well, I wasn't shocked, but I was kind of applauding him because it's been done before, and he just showed me that he's a real champion, real man that wants to make history, and he knows he got to take risks, and he's done what old school have done. He's done with Roy Jones, myself, and others, and I commend him for doing it.
Cojones, big time.
Kell Brook is an excellent fighter. He's a very big welterweight, really more like a junior middleweight, and in fact, when you look at it, probably the best professional opponent Triple G will have faced. I think that's a really nice fight.
Definitely more skilled boxer than David Lemieux.
Absolutely. And considering how hard it is to get other real middleweights in the ring with Triple G, they went and found a noteworthy opponent, undefeated and quite good.
That's going to come to win.
That's showing up to try to win the fight and is anyway not really a welterweight. I mean, he could make the welterweight limit, but that's a very big welterweight.
Well, one thing that's lived up to the billing here, we told you Alexander Brand was awkward. That's an understatement.
No.
This is one of the more awkward styles.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the reasons he hung around these many rounds. But I think that now that the 4 or 5 rounds is in there, he must now start putting some really good pressure on him.
Yeah, I think
Ward must put pressure on Alexander.
I think Andre's going right back to the body with the right hand.
Well, he almost caught him with a left hook that might have put Brand in real trouble, but wound up missing just a little bit off the point of the chin.
And why Hunter told Andre that he got rounds in, go do your business. You know, you can get cut, something can happen in there. You don't want those accidents, Max. You want to go, Jim, and do your business and now end the show and end it on a high note.
Good body shot by Brand.
In Ward's most dominant power performance, when he knocked out Chad Dawson, who was at that time the reigning middleweight or light heavyweight champion. Light heavyweight champion came down in weight to fight Ward, and Ward knocked him out, knocking him down 3 times here in Oakland. That night, the left hook was the money punch, and Ward looked really powerful with it.
If you look at what Andre's doing here, there are little subtle things, like, for example, Brand goes back into the corner, leans away from shots, anticipating headshots because Andre just raked him with a hook, and instead Andre throws 2 hard shots to the chest. You know, there are what you're watching in Andre Ward is really a complete fighter.
And he knows something now because he turned to southpaw, as Jim said, and he's going to now try to throw that straight left hand because he sees by Alexander being awkward as he is, the left hand in the southpaw position is probably the better way to fight him.
And remember, Ward is a natural left-hander. So this is the stance in which he probably began his boxing work when he was 8 or 9 years old.
And listen, Give me the water now. Listen, Brand, listen well. In this round, you're a little slow. Lay back too much. I need more activity. If you're not working, we're moving, okay? But I just don't want you still. You heard?
Look at that target, hit that target, and start punishing that man, okay? You get no shots through now. He's feeling them. Putting that straight left in the chest. Bring that uppercut in. Okay? Short and compact.
Alexander's on a rope. This is a perfect time where the right hand goes to the ribs and then the left hand up top. Following up with the left hand was the key. The second punch is always the best after the first one.
And there's the crusher, Sergey Kovalev, with the crafty grin on his face at ringside as he watches his opponent for the supposed November showdown pay-per-view. Supremacy at light heavyweight between Ward and Kovalev, if in fact we make it to that date. Ward still in the southpaw stance here.
I would like to see Andre end the night early. I think for himself, he has to use this fight as a kind of a
mental
measuring stick. How sharp is he? How ready is he for the ultimate challenge at light heavyweight? And while he's obviously won every round and this guy isn't in his league, I think it would make a statement, if only to himself, if he gets his guy out of there.
And there's a solid left hand to the jaw of Brand, which made its point, although didn't really hurt Brand that badly.
It was the force of it, and the leverage and the balance of both fighters. Andre, of course, was in a better position, and that's why Alexander fell back and stumbled a little bit.
Of course, one of the reasons Andre hasn't lost a fight since he was 13 years old is that he is not, trying to please anyone but himself. He tries to get the win and is not the kind of fighter that's going to try to force a stoppage if he doesn't see it come naturally.
But to get the attention of the critics and the attention of the fans, he must step out of that character just a little to let people understand that he's serious about being pound for pound number one.
I think he's kind of doing that this round.
In the last two rounds, Ward outlanded Brand 32-8. CompuBox keeps a statistic called plus minus, which ranks all the top fighters in the sport according to the number of punches they land per round versus the number of punches their opponents land. The person with the largest margin coming into tonight is Andre Ward, landing an average of 15.2 or 15.3, I should say, punches per round, more than his opponents have landed against him. He seized the top spot as the result of Leo Santa Cruz slipping out of it off the numbers in his loss to Carl Frampton. But off of tonight's numbers, by the way, if in fact it stays the way it is, by the end of the evening, Ward will no longer be number one in CompuBox plus minus, and that ranking will belong to Gennady Golovkin, unless Ward steps up the pace and lands a lot more punches between here and the end.
I thought he's been very accurate tonight.
Just not active enough to be stretching that number out.
Yeah, and then maybe that also because he moved up to light heavyweight, Jim. I mean, you want to conserve, reserve some energy and take it, the next 7, 8 rounds. But I think he'll pick the pace up because you see Alexander now just really trying to survive. He's trying to hold and trying to do everything he can not to get hit with a big shot, Alexander.
Good job. Feeling good? Okay. Number 7. Now keep that jab working if you're on the southpaw and step in and put it in on him, okay? But don't overshoot your range, okay? Then use your right jab for your defense coming out and come back again. And don't forget that left hook from the southpaw side, okay? Over the top. All right? Now he's grabbing you on the inside, so when you go, you gotta surprise him. And one way to surprise him is when he comes forward, don't move away from him, but move him over.
Andre switching to southpaw, throwing a left hook that catches Alexander right there, but he didn't throw another punch, and that's why Alexander grabbed him. He fell into him, and you never should do that. Be out front to hit.
Part of the reason that he hasn't scored more knockouts, Andre Ward, is he's just not a huge puncher. He's not a bad puncher, he's a sharp one, but it's when Kovalev hits a guy, they fall.
Halfway through the fight, Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, I got it 6-0, 60-54, Andre Ward. Hey, you know, Jim, did you see those left hands that he landed in round 6? I mean, he landed some huge left hands out of the southpaw stance. Incredible. This kid, Alexander Brand, takes a heck of a punch. You don't win fights taking good punches, but it certainly keeps you in the fight. I mean, Andre Ward hit him with some dynamite shots in round 6 out of that southpaw stance. Mostly all left hands. Be as it may, 6-0, 60-54, Andre Ward.
You have to be truly venerable, as Harold Letterman is, to call a 39-year-old a kid. Brand will be 40 in January. That's some kid, Harold.
Well, Alexander right now is cut on the right eye. I think it might have came from a jab. Max, it was a good stiff jab, and Alexander looked like he's cut on the right, right eye.
And his eye's bloodshot too, like that jab went straight into the eye.
Yeah, it was a stiff jab.
Ward seems to be trying to put a little more power on his shots now. I have a hunch he might be thinking that it looks best if he can finish Brand sometime within the distance. Eyebrows were raised because of Kovalev's 26 knockouts in 30 fights, or 30 wins, when he was unable to get rid of Chilemba. He did knock him down in the 7th round, got him in trouble in the 12th, but couldn't put him away.
No fighter is perfect. Kovalev is pretty athletic for a puncher, but not as athletic as Andre Ward. And Andre Ward is a pretty sharp puncher for a boxer, but clearly not the puncher that Kovalev is. And that's why Brand is still here in spite of taking some big shots.
Whenever Andre Ward put his punches together, that's when I think we're going to see an exit from Alexander. He's not putting 2 or 3 punches together, as Hunter said many rounds ago. Start putting these punches together, then he has a better shot of wearing Alexander down.
And is he not putting them together because Brand is awkward and is moving away and is trying as hard to avoid punches as he is to land them?
Well, he has a good offense in the defense because he's awkward, and that brings problems. Because listen, Andre Ward don't want to get hit by any awkward shot that might cut him, might put him down. So he has to be kind of a little wary there too, because he know he can run into something. So yeah, that plays a good part on both sides.
Against Sullivan Barrera, Ward was cut above the left eye by an accidental headbutt. One of the things he and I agreed upon coming in tonight was it'd be nice if there are no accidental headbutts. And Brand is exactly the kind of guy against whom that can happen. So now they got work to do in Alexander Brand's corner on that right eye, which, as Max and Bernard pointed out to you, is cut.
It's just a little cut, but it's nothing, okay? It's nothing. You understood? All right. Close the eyes now. Close the eyes. How are you feeling? Good? Good. I want you to move. I need you to move. That dude has no more than 3 or 4 punches. That's it. So then what? So you have to work. When you're not working, you move.
The momentum of the right hand, then the straight, stiff jab, that was started to cut, I believe, when Andre pushed that jab into Alexander's face.
Hold up. It's him. It's I. From the punch.
You know the definition of a good referee?
Box.
Haven't said Jack Reese's name all night.
Jim, I think you nailed it last round. Another reason Brand is still standing is, on the one hand, he's awkward, and on the other hand, he's defensive. So he's not presenting enormous combination punching opportunities for Andre, and yet he's throwing enough awkward haymakers to keep Andre honest at times.
Some fans were disappointed that Terrence Crawford didn't knock out the obviously overmatched Victor Postol. But when you're winning every round and the opponent doesn't really have any weaponry with which to be competitive against you, nowhere is it written that you have to take the risk to go ahead and step forward and knock him out. It's okay to walk away with a shutout win.
Sure.
Especially with a guy that's a fair puncher that can, and again, there's so much riding on after this fight. And Andre it's back in his mind, it got to be, I don't want to get cut, I don't want to get headbutt, but, we're fighters, so we're going to take those chances when it's necessary. But right now, he's sharp. He's touching him with the jab. I like to see him throw a lot more combinations, that right hand over the top, but let his hands go, and I believe that he'll get Alexander out of here.
And the other thing is, in the Floyd-Mayweather era, there was a paradigm shift, and fighters especially saw the example of a guy who had a very long and illustrious career, took very little punishment, and optimized his earnings. And so it's not quite the culture in boxing what it once was. Nice right hand, where if you don't score the knockout, you know, you don't capture the imagination of the fans. The fans catch on, even if you don't score the knockout, that here's a magnificent fighter who's very difficult to beat.
And I think right now, in round 8, it's time for Andre Ward now to go into another gear. Listen, this is a second half of your career. Everything is in back of you that was in front of you years ago. Now is your time to be that golden boy of this era. And he has an opportunity to do it.
And the November fight is pay-per-view. So you want to give fans a calling card, something to remember, something that stimulates them to want to buy the fight
you have to inspire people. It's sport, but it's also entertainment. And I think Andre here is pressing for the knockout.
Yes, he is. This is a more aggressive Andre Ward than you normally see. He senses that he can get the knockout, and now it appears that he's actually trying for it. Andre Ward likes to say that there's a particular triple crown of boxing in which he's interested. Preserve your health, preserve your finances, and create a legacy. If you can do those 3 things, then you have achieved the most that can be achieved in boxing. And he does point to Floyd Mayweather as somebody who accomplished exactly that. Following tonight's live boxing, don't miss a special extended edition of Real Sports that provides a comprehensive portrait of the International Olympic Committee and an eye-opening account of what cities endure when hosting the games. This Tuesday, it's the premiere of Hard Knocks training camp for the Los Angeles Rams. We'll take you behind the scenes with head coach Jeff Fisher and the Rams as they return to Southern California following a 21-year absence.
He's yours, Jay. He's going to play the monkey. He's trying to survive. When he's down, you're down. Put your attack in the chest area in the front, okay? Now, he's defensive. You got to just keep working him, okay? You hear me?
Round number 9 is coming, son. Number 9 is coming.
We've mentioned that Andre Ward is a boxer who does not like unwarranted risk. Virgil Hunter, his trainer, is maybe even more aggressive about that. He really doesn't like unwarranted risk. He wants to win, and that's really all he cares about.
Exactly. He just told Andre to go to the body, hit him in the chest, hit him in the stomach, hit him everywhere, and he let him know that he mean it. Hit him there and stop him and get this guy break his body down as you go.
Now Ward corners Brand. Gets in a left hook, and Brand grabs him to slow down the action. 9th of a scheduled 12 in Oakland.
I think this is where Andre wants him. If this guy could get aggressive and open up coming forward, that gives Andre opportunities to put some punches together.
Well, he wanted Alexander to get comfortable, Max, to think that he's accomplishing something, and then set those traps, and then Ward will counterpunch, or at least make us. Make him pay for his misses. And so Alexander is trying to, keep his same style, try to keep his same awkward style to try to open something up for himself. But I think he's going to run into something real soon when he step in there with Andre too close.
Bernard, would it be a downside of going the distance that Sergey Kovalev is sitting there getting what would amount under those circumstances to a 12-round look at what he's going to be facing in Andre Ward?
Yeah, I think it's a benefit to Sergey because he gets to see more in 12 rounds than he would see in 6 rounds or 5 rounds.
Full scouting report.
So if I was Andre Ward, I want him to see the less as possible tonight.
He was trying to knock Brand out right there.
And I want to send that message, Jim. I want to send that message to not only Sergey. I want to send it to the boxing fans and the critics, the people that support me and the ones that don't, that I'm ready for this fight coming up with Sergey.
Andre is a complete fighter, but he's just not a puncher. As I said, he hits sharp enough, he can score knockouts, but he's not a guy who's going to blow guys away with power, and he never has been.
But he will beat you up.
And he'll beat you up. And so some of these home run shots, even when they're landing, they're hurting Brand, but they haven't gotten him out of here. This is just who Andre Ward is.
He'll beat you up, and he'll take your heart, because his skills are so supreme that you realize at some point that you don't really have a chance.
And then he has tremendous heart.
Let him go.
And again, who's to say that he's not working on things that he believes that Sergey going to be trying to throw? You know, rolling with the shoulders, counter-punching, seeing shots where you can see him. I mean, this is a really glorified sparring match, but it's on a high level where people can see, and he can get something out of it when it comes to the skill level of what he need to work on.
Well, that was a slip, a drop,
and possibly a kick.
A fly into the air and fall. That was amazing. This would be a good moment for Ward to touch his chin, and he does as the bell sounds.
Put some water on. If you're going to put some water on him, do it now. That's it. Here's the towel now. All right, close up the eyes. Brand, he's desperate now. He's desperate now because he's trying to stop you no matter what, period. Don't give him that luxury now. Don't give him that luxury.
That's what we want.
This is pretty easy work for Andre Ward. Through 9 rounds, he has landed 80 of 148 power shots. That's 54%, an extraordinarily high connect percentage with his power punches, while Brand is 28 of 150 for 19%. So the plus-minus thing is in play there. Harold, we've come to the 10th. How do you have it through 9?
As expected, Jim. 9-0, 90-81, Andre Ward. You know, Jim, I tell you, I thought in rounds 8 and 9, Andre was definitely looking to knock him out. I mean, he's been throwing really, really hard shots. On the other hand, I think that Alexander Brand, just like he did there, takes a tremendous shot. I mean, the guy really takes a heck of a punch, you know? He looks like he's going a distance because no matter what Ward hits him with, no matter where Ward hits him, the guy just shakes it off. It's incredible. Alexander Brand is taking shots that would have knocked out anybody, but he's still in there, you know? I mean, he's hardly been staggered, you know, let alone dropped. He's really fighting a good fight as far as giving Andre Ward some work. 9-0, Andre Ward.
Bernard, it's 2 different opponents, so it may be impossible for you to establish a concrete view here, but you think that Ward has advanced in any way over what we saw against Sullivan Barrera in March?
Absolutely not. I don't think
it's the same thing.
I don't think he gained any blueprint on how to beat Sergey based on his style, Jim. But I do think that the benefit comes in. He got rounds in. You know, he got repetition.
And he went through another training camp, and he went through the process of fighting under the lights.
So the mental, the physical.
And the routine of it all. And that's a lot of what shaking rust is.
I mean, this is a live stage than being in the gym, Jim and Max, where you're getting sparring, but you out here now where it really counts in front of people, the audience on HBO, and also here. So he needs all that to come together as a recipe to get ready for a super fight with Sergey Kovalev.
And Brand does have a proven chin against unknown opposition, but in the sense that he was knocked down in the first round of his last fight by a relatively little-known Russian opponent. That's the only knockdown of his career. Ward has not scored an official knockdown of Brand tonight. Harold pointed out that Brand can seem to take any one shot at a time. It's going to take a combination to put him away.
Well, Jim, a lot of people get knocked down by Russian fighters, so I'm not shocked that he didn't that he got knocked down by that.
He didn't get knocked down by just any Russian fighter,
Right.
Bernard.
Yeah.
You got knocked down by Sergey Kovalev.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's different.
And I don't think there's anything here that's going to change anyone's mind about a Kovalev fight. Those who thought that Ward would win probably still think so, and vice versa. But I wonder if some ask here, does Andre Ward have the power to keep Kovalev honest?
The Ward family having fun at ringside.
He can't take no more, Dre. He's going to play the clown the rest of the way. He can't take no more. You can't take no more. Huh?
11 is coming, eh? All right, listen. Be cautious. Be cautious. This is 11 coming up. You gotta be careful. All right, breathe, breathe. When you're on the inside with him, try and tie him up and take away his distance, all right?
We call it the throwaway hook, just to get it there so the right hand can land on the spot. And it hit, Alexander couldn't even see it coming. The throwaway hook.
Watching those replays, Bernard, one of the reasons Brand is still standing is he has a pretty tricky way of tucking his chin, and he's taking those shots on the nose, on the cheekbone, on the head, but not really on the point of the chin ever.
Well, he's not getting hit on the chin because, like you said, is unorthodox. Right now, he got hit with a good right hand, and he rolls with those punches, and he keeps his chin just enough tucked where he don't get hit full on, and that's the skill. That's something that you're taught. And he's using it effectively. As a matter of fact, that's why he's in his late rounds, still not in the fight, but still surviving to go 12 rounds.
Well, and here's a statistic which is going to prompt either the observation that Brand was woefully inadequate or as an opponent, or that Ward stepped up his game and got better. In his last 9 fights, Ward's opponents averaged landing 9 punches per round. Alexander Brand is landing 4 punches per round as we arrive here in the 11th. So Ward has been largely unhittable for Alexander Brand.
Oh yeah, look, Ward is a great defensive fighter, and he's a very good offensive one too.
Kovalev is a great offensive fighter.
Yeah.
Who may not really worry about defense in a lot of his fights because he so overpowers the opposition.
And that's why the offensive fighter has to be out of character, or at least get out of character to be able to survive that onslaught.
Good right hand.
Perfect right hand counter shot by Ward.
In fact, Ward has a more diverse offense than Kovalev, just minus the thump.
Yeah, that was a good counter right hand that Andre Ward threw, but it was one shot. You know, he has to think about another shot and not look at his work. Andre cannot continue to throw one punch and then look at his work when he gets there, because he must follow up with other punches.
I think we're going 12 rounds, which will be interpreted a variety of different ways by boxing media.
Great, well-rounded fighters, and this goes in team sports too. Great, well-rounded teams never look as good against mediocrity as great offensive fighters or teams look, because mediocrity has nothing to stave off a great offense. But fighters like Bernard Hopkins, for example, needed a Felix Trinidad to show you all the things he could do. And I suspect, as much as Andre Ward has won every round here, he needs a guy like Kovalev to show you everything he's capable of.
That'll be in November. If all goes well in the last round of this one.
But if Andre wanted activity, he got it tonight when it comes to rounds.
Sergey Kovalev fighting in his home area near Chelyabinsk, Russia, less than a month ago. Went the distance, somewhat unexpectedly, with Isaac Jalemba. And now, as Kovalev puts his arm around his mother here at ringside in Oakland, he's watching Andre Ward most likely go the distance against Alexander Brand. Which may or may not mean we're in for 12 rounds of excitement in November.
Predicting everything, and don't let nothing else entertain and have its place, okay? And the reason why I'm saying that is necessary, okay? You have to quit worrying about what somebody's doing to you, and you have to do Okay, I'm talking to you, son. I'm talking to you, okay? I just want you to do it, okay? Go ahead.
You hear a lot of trainers call a fighter son. It means a little more when Virgil Hunter says it to Andre Ward. Andre Ward openly and freely says, without Virgil Hunter, I don't know where I'd be. Hunter now trains Andre Berto, Amir Khan, other fighters as well. The small mouse under Andre Ward's left eye, and now Jack Reese is observing his hairline to see if perhaps a butt may have opened a cut there.
Alexander came in with a wild left hook with his head also accidentally, looks like, but they clash heads, and that's the danger in these fights.
I don't see any blood.
Especially if you're talking about a November fight.
Exactly. The question is, do you get a delay?
In boxing, when you can close the show, you close the show. And Andre, I believe, should have closed the show 2-3 rounds ago. Because of things that can happen.
Well, some nights I would say that's just Andre Ward. But tonight I don't think it's for lack of trying. I think he wanted to close the show.
Yeah.
Combinations like that show you that.
I mean, you know, if you ask Joe Frazier to outbox his opponent behind the jab, it's not what he does. And if you're asking a sharp but not devastating puncher, a boxer puncher, to stop an opponent who's trying to survive, it's just not what he does.
But isn't it sometime in a fight or at a situation where you got to get nasty? You got to get damn right, like, I'm going to step out of I'm going to get nasty. I want to win this fight. I want to knock this guy out.
Andre Ward is a control freak as a fighter especially, and I don't think is capable of fighting out of control.
Bernard, I'll be honest. I saw several fights in which I thought a knockout might be possible for you, but you walked away with a decision win because it was easy.
I agree.
And because you, like Andre Ward, were also a control freak in the ring. You like to control the action.
The whole action.
Yeah, and risk-taking involves probability. It's not as deterministic. You know, when you take a risk, when you open up, suddenly you're not as in control.
But sitting on this side of boxing, I'm looking at a guy that I know that can be out of there if he's pressured enough, because Andre haven't threw many punches that he normally, I think, can throw in this situation.
Meantime, even with that.
So against a totally outclassed Alexander Brand, Andre Ward goes the distance. Wins every round, probably wins every minute of every round, might have won every 10 seconds of every round, but goes the distance to get the easy win against Alexander Brand. And again, open to interpretation in a variety of ways by boxing media. Now, is there blood?
That's right.
Is there a cut?
Even with all of this, the question is, wait a minute, is Andre Ward's eye okay? Is a November date with Kovalev still in play? It doesn't look like it's opened up or anything like that.
Not so Bruce.
But even in a fight where he was very careful to be controlling when he was looking for the stoppage.
And he could possibly try to do that with Sergey.
But what I'm saying is still, we had to get nervous in the 12th round about a cut. That's the nature of boxing.
And there's the unofficial Harold Letterman score, which you could see was increasingly uneventful as the fight went on. Each round a replica of its predecessor, except in some of the middle rounds when Ward seemed to be pushing the issue and trying to land the big shot. So Kovalev goes the distance against Chilemba. Ward goes the distance against Alexander Brand. And now we point forward toward November. Here's Michael Buffer with the official particulars of the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the Oracle Arena, Oakland, California, USA, we go to the scorecards. And all three judges scored the same, 120 to 108. The winner by unanimous decision, still undefeated, the Fighting Pride of Oakland, California, and now the WBO International Champion, Andre S.O.G.
Tiffany Ward celebrating at ringside. Virgil Hunter whispering into the